Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Loreweek. Now, for those of you who are watching this on the VOD, I want you to do me a favor and not skip to the first bullet point, unless you're skipping to the first bullet point, which is the question, in which case go ahead and do that. That's okay. Just do me that favor, because I need as many people to weigh in on this as possible, and just to make sure, I'm going to go ahead and make it a timestamp when I actually do this, so FYI. Now, first thing I want to talk about is how incredibly stupid everyone is. Well, no, not everyone. That's actually a complete lie and a total exaggeration. But I've noticed something. So, this isn't to the level of, say, fake news, but I've noticed that most of the news outlets that I pay attention to have been only, I'm the stupidest one of all, Corin, have only really been reporting on 3 bullet points over and over and over and over and over again throughout the course of the week. I believe you, if and but. It was a terrifying game. Even when I started cheating, it was still terrifying. Very atmospheric game. But there's these 3 things. I just kept bringing them up. I bet you know what I'm going to say before I even say it. The first is that congratulations! Disney bought Fox! No, they didn't. They might. That's still being debated. They have not only increased their bid, and also are willing to literally change the deal, but Disney has not bought Fox. In fact, no one has bought Fox. Nothing's happened yet. I will, however, note that the timing is very interesting, considering last week we know that, I can't remember his name, Murdoch, I want to say, and the board of directors were all meeting in order to decide what they were going to do about the buyouts, and then Disney decided to go ahead and up their ante, which makes perfect sense after all. I mean, you don't want to pay more than you have to, unless you have to, right? Yeah, Rupert Murdoch, if he died, the world would probably be a better place. All the Star Wars movies have been canceled! No, they haven't. That is worth noting that there has been a lot of contradictory information about what's going on with the Star Wars films right now. But even according to official sources, which I'm at least willing to give a 50% chance of being accurate, there is no putting on the brakes on any of the existing films that they were going to work on. Now, what is probably going to happen is they're going to change around their marketing strategy, but I have seen nothing whatsoever to indicate they're actually doing that, other than rumors and leaks, which indicate, oh my god. I sometimes feel that the reason these rumors get started is because people think, well, it just makes perfect sense from the perspective of me, an individual, and probably a Star Wars fan, that this is what should happen, right? Let me give you an example real quick of what I mean by that kind of a rumor. Well, they're going to cancel the Boba Fett movie. Why? Well, because Han Solo, who is Han frickin' Solo, was not able to hold a movie by himself. So any smaller character than Han, that's just not feasible, right? But that's not how a company thinks, so we'll see. I will say this, though, it wouldn't surprise me at all if they do dial back their plans a bit. What I'm worried about is if they dial back their plans a lot. As I've said before, there's a legitimately real possibility here that they might decide to just kind of stop, put the brakes on the Star Wars cinematic universe, which we'll see. We'll see. What was the other fake news? Oh yeah! This one isn't quite fake in the strictest sense of the word, but it's more like, I keep hearing people report on how the massive conglomerate Bethesda is smashing down on the little distributor and suing someone unlawfully and spuriously, except I actually bothered to go ahead and read that, and though I, of course, do not have the actual facts, based on what I've seen, I think Bethesda has a pretty strong case for being in the right here. So, make of that what you will. See, the idea is not just the fact that they cloned the game, which you can't sue someone for cloning a game. That's not how that works. What you can sue someone for is for quite literally stealing code that you are under a contract not to do. There's I'm going to make a Happy Birds clone, and then there's, I'm going to steal Happy Birds code to make a clone. Like, there is a line there, especially when you're already under written contract. Anyways, moving on. But those 3 items, that was like every news site was just constantly spamming those 3 things all week, and it's just, oh. Is there any real news this week? Well, kind of, but not really. Because the one thing that's really news this week is something that I don't know enough about to really speak on length, and I haven't had the time to really research to the level I prefer. So, let's go ahead and switch on to the question. This is a question for all of you. Actually, should I wait on the question? I want as many people to respond as possible. I'm going to wait on the question, just because I want as many people as possible on that. So we'll go ahead and switch to what's next. Oh, where's my list? We'll go ahead and switch to...
Your dedication will be rewarded.
Stop donating. I haven't had a chance to update anything. I already said that. I'll try to get some website work done today while the marathon's going on. I'm going to be incredibly busy this coming week, ironically. I'm not actually going to get to catch all that much of GDQ because I will be that busy this freaking week. But anyways, let's talk about this. So let's get a timestamp, which is, let's just do this. How many of you have heard of IHOP? Better question. How many of you have heard of IHOP? Well, I'll go see what Jason Bauer donated. It's probably for Assassin's Creed Odyssey, god damn it. Yeah, see, I have a quick and dirty text file which I keep track of all this in, which currently says that you've donated 30, as of right now, to ACO. But I haven't updated the site, the actual log, or the spreadsheet yet. But it is there, I swear, and thank you very, very much, Jason Bauer. As ever, it is much appreciated. So anyways, IHOP, right? So IHOP is International House of Boigas, and this is, I mean, okay, it's obvious, it's really easy to look at the IHOP thing and say, well, that's dumb, because it's kind of dumb, right? But I want to actually talk about this because I feel like there's a legitimate topic here. It's always about rebranding. I, of course, understand rebranding, but I have a slightly different situation there. My old brand was Arshay and Gaia, which was difficult to say and difficult to spell. And when it got to the point where I started realizing that I was growing to the point where I could actually make this feasibly my full-time job and actually make a living off of it, I needed to rebrand. The only reason I didn't do earlier is because it never occurred to me that this was a business. It was just something I was kind of doing, right? And then I got into the Patreon thing, and the health issues started, so I kind of had to keep doing this. And it got to the point where rebranding was mandatory, because when you have a brand that's like Sir Gilly Floggersnockens, right? If someone goes, it's like, oh, I want to go see Sir Gilly Floggersnockens, they're not going to have any idea how to spell that or to say that. So that hurts word-of-mouth traffic, literal vocal, and it hurts word-of-mouth traffic in terms of text. And I actually have people who have told me that back in the day, they would try to go search for my videos and have no idea how to spell Arshay and Gaia and say, So the rebranding to Lore Runner was flatly required as far as I'm concerned. I had to rebrand to Lore Runner. Right? I could just say Lore Runner, and 9 times out of 10, and I've actually been paying attention over the last few years, people are just like, yes! They immediately get it. There's no, how do you spell that? There's no, hang on, is that Greek? No, it's just, yeah, okay. Lore Runner, cool. Every now and again, someone has to verify Lore Runner, and I'm like, yeah, that's all it is. Now, having said that, how hard is it to say or spell IHOP? Now, what's funny about this is IHOP itself is a rebranding from International House of Pancakes. They originally used to go by International House of Pancakes, which, while not exactly hard to say or type or spell or whatever, or even remember, is something that's a little bit long. So they just kind of, boom, IHOP, done. They already had a good brand, is what I'm trying to say. And the thing is, I decided to look this up. Can anyone tell me, without looking it up, when IHOP became IHOP? What year did they rebrand to IHOP? Because this is kind of getting to my point here. Lol, crit source. Just waiting to see a few other people give a shot. We've sent someone in the thousands, early thousands, 1995, says Warwolf. A couple years ago, says Anthony Draft. Bragwin says nothing. 1980. 1973. I'll admit that surprised me when I looked it up. They have been IHOP for longer than I've been alive. Yeah, really. Now, I bring that up because, at least here in the States, I know some of my European viewers are like, really? But here in the States, the IHOP brand is almost synonymous with what IHOP has come to be, both good and bad. There's a very big difference, as me and my friends can attest to as well, and I'm sure some of you can, between a good IHOP and a bad IHOP. The bad IHOP is where you never go, because that's where the late-night stoners go, and basically no one else. And then there's a good IHOP, which tends to have decent food for relatively cheap, right? But my point is that brand is so built in, it's right up there with Denny's. In fact, in some cities, there are actually IHOPs and no Denny's that I've lived in the past. So, my point is, from a branding perspective, they already have tremendous market saturation. Like, they are very, very well known, for good and for bad, throughout the United States, throughout the continental states. So trying to rebrand to IHOB. So first of all, maybe this is just me. IHOP, okay. IHOB? Something about that just doesn't sound right. It doesn't have anywhere near the kind of punch to it, just IHOB. I'd believe you, Palayan. 7-Eleven's actually been on a bit of a downswing here in the States for decades at this point. I mean, the number of gas stations that are within like a couple of miles of here is crazy, and none of them are a 7-Eleven. And I know 7-Eleven isn't a gas station, but you get my point. Yeah, IHOB. It does. It kind of sounds like a generic knockoff, doesn't it? Or like IHOBble is the first thing I thought. It was like, IHOB. After eating there, can't make it, right? So it doesn't have quite the same punch to it, just from a purely vocal standpoint and nothing else. The second thing is apparently they wanted to really focus on burgers, of all things. Now, I've actually been to good IHOPs. In fact, there was an IHOP that opened up where I used to live. This is years and years ago at this point. That was a good IHOP, and we managed to go there pretty much right after that IHOP opened up. And they had some good food. I never got a burger there. Steak tips is actually my favorite thing to get at IHOP, by the way. Yeah, so the real point I'm trying to get here is that this is functionally a stupid rebrand, unlike my earlier Lore Runner rebrand. I just wanted to give those two examples to give across, that game. So from a purely marketing perspective, this is a dumb move. I decided to look a little bit more into this. Apparently, this is a current part of a movement to basically pull a McDonald's. Now, I know you're probably like, huh? I want to do a quiz, basically, really quick. Okay, quiz time! You'll find, if you look under your chair, there's a notebook and a pencil and a paper, okay? Just go ahead and pull it out. I want you to all jot your answers down. No, seriously, though. When I say McDonald's, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? Either a sentence or a word. Go ahead. What comes to my mind is probably not the first thing that comes to your mind, which is why I'm not actually going to even mention that. So, Big Mac, fast food, good fries, meh burgers. I like that one. Egg McMuffin. I like that one too. Fast food, cheap burger, burgers, cheeseburger, Big Mac, breakfast food. You're funny, Valerian. I used to fly a lot, as in airplane. Not this, as in I was a passenger. But I used to fly all over the place, because I had family all over the place. And I used to go back and forth between them like every few months, like It was very, very common for me. The reason I'm bringing this up, though, is because almost all of my flights were usually pretty early in the morning. And back when I was a kid, and a teenager, and a young 20s person, the only place that airports had for food was a McDonald's. And they only ever served their breakfast food. And I hated it. I hated it so much. It would make me feel sick to actually just to smell it. I'd be like, oh, God. It's gotten better. But what else we got here? So we had breakfast food, cheeseburger, crap food that everyone loves for some reason. Burgers, chicken McNuggets, fries, burgers, crap but cheap, expensive. That's funny. Nobody said the Squid Ink burgers. I'm very surprised by this. The reason I bring this up is McDonald's also has tremendous market saturation. But the funny thing is McDonald's has been on a quest to rebrand themselves for, God, almost 15 years now. It's been a while. Basically, McDonald's has been trying to push themselves up the tiers of fast food, presenting themselves as not the cheap and dirty option, but as the option you go to get a salad, right? Or to get a nice, gourmet burger with guacamole, right? I mean, that's a thing they sell right now. Or, the yogurt, right? It's been something McDonald's has been pushing for a while. And I bring that up because I really feel, based on what I looked into, this is, of course, oh yeah, family restaurants, another one. Based on what I saw, and this is just speculation, I think that's what IHOP, because I'm going to call it that, is trying to do here. IHOP is trying to drag itself up from being the cheap crap, breakfast place to, no, where you get gourmet burgers and stuff like that, in order to try and build their brand up. And I gotta say, well, that is a noble endeavor. Changing the name as the first effort of that was really, really dumb. Like, as an aside, do you have any idea, I'm sure most of you do, how much money it costs to do that kind of a rebranding for a franchise that is as saturated as IHOP is? In fact, I bet you money that any one of you can go out to whatever your nearest IHOP is, and it still says IHOP. It still says that. Because that takes a lot of effort, work, time, and, of course, money in order to actually rebrand that. Which brings me to my second point. Near as I can tell, they're not actually rebranding. It's still IHOP.com. They're still listed under the registry in oh, God, I can't think of the name. I was just looking up this morning. The Better Business Bureau registry as IHOP. I have a feeling they're literally... Yeah, they haven't registered IHOP or anything like that. I have a feeling this is literally just a social marketing campaign to generate buzz. Which is... Yeah, this feels just like a PR stunt. Now, if we perceive this... I feel you, Shadow Machine, I really do. If we perceive this as a PR stunt, all of a sudden this rebranding makes perfect sense. Because the entire idea is to draw attention to themselves, and then... theoretically, do something with that additional attention. Actually turn that around into something new. Which would be the next step. We'll see if they go with that. But I could just picture the board meeting right now. Okay, just picture it. Bunch of guys, suits, my tie's over there. This Switch controller will be my tie for the moment. So, can I, like, stick this here? That's not going to stick. Pretend there's a tie here. We need to generate some new buzz about IHOP as part of our new marketing campaign, but we don't have a lot of money. Oh, I've got an idea. Why don't we do like a social media campaign that'll cost literally nothing, aside from a few hours of time, in order to present this? Good idea. Go ahead and implement it. Like, right? This is cheap to do for what IHOP is doing right now. If this is all they're doing, is this kind of, hey, we're renaming ourselves to IHOP. Why is my tie pink? And I just found the whole thing fascinating from an economic perspective. I apologize for talking so much about IHOP of all things, but I really did find this idea fascinating. Yeah, we just want attention. Please look at us. We will see. No, Palayan. No, a good company will understand the idea that investment properly utilized equals returns. Like, far too many companies don't understand So, I mean, the phrase is you spend money to make money, and that's a little disingenuous, but it's still true. You invest time, effort, resources, money properly and carefully, and you get greater returns out of it. That's economic principle 101 right there. So, well, see, you say that, Palayan, but that, you know what? I don't want to get off on economic concepts right now. Let's just say this is stupid of them. Moving on. It would be right up there with, like, oh, I don't know, EA producing a new Command and Conquer game, except it's on mobile. No, seriously, it's the same general concept. Just a little less extreme. Moving on. What's my next topic? Well, no, you do have a point, Palayan. You really do. The problem, okay, to address you directly, Palayan, the problem is most people in general and companies in specifics do not understand that there is value that does not exist in the budget report, basically. I have seen so many accountants and so many business managers and so many economic investors and so many financial advisors who think of return on investment solely on how much money the next quarter is going to bring in versus the previous quarter. And that's it. That's the only value that matters to them. No idea about long-term investment, no idea about market saturation, no idea about trying to engender customer trust, no idea about trying to slowly build an audience base, nothing. Nothing else. Just bam. This is all that matters. And I'm not saying it doesn't matter. I'm just saying people spend way too much time and effort on numbers, and I personally believe, and I have some evidence for this, that is one of the reasons why so many companies do make really stupid decisions and have for the last 103 years. Anyways, let's talk about Sony and how stupid they are. How many people? Can someone tell me how many viewers I have? Didn't I talk about that last week, Nils Wager? I actually don't remember. 82. That's a good number. It's all about the numbers. Let's go and get to the question. No, I honestly don't remember Nils Wager. That's a legit thing. Does anyone tell me if I already talked about the AT&T vertical merger problem? Because I swear I've already thought about that. But I don't know if I've said that on camera. It's been an absolutely insanely busy week. So, okay, I did. Okay. Let me get a timestamp because it's really important. I would like everyone... What do the numbers mean? How do I phrase this? So I've been debating how to ask this question. It's one of those situations where I don't know how to ask a question to get the answer I want. Because I don't know how to get to the answer. And I don't mean like I want you to answer a specific thing. I mean, there's a specific thing I want to ask, and I'm having trouble figuring out how to ask the question to get to that point. You know what I'm talking about? So I'm going to try this as best as I had. I've been thinking about this for like 5 days now. So, my show functionally consists of 3 parts, right? Obviously, there's a lot of paperwork and business stuff I have to do basically daily to keep up on stuff, and I haven't even had time for that, as Jason Bauer can attest to. But 3 real, the overwhelming bulk of my time is consumed by 3 activities. The television ruminations on Monday and Tuesdays, the Friday ruminations on Friday, and streaming, which is premiere runs and lore runs predominantly, right? There's also Loreweek and chill runs, whatever other streams I do. That's all streaming. So those are the 3 things right there. So the question I'm going to ask, and I hope I get this across, is the television stuff is locked in because the television stuff is extremely popular. In fact, it's actually my most popular YouTube thing by far, and also has a tremendous return on investment. Plenty of people like that, and plenty of people either sub or donate because of the Star Trek stuff. That's not going away. What about these 2? If you had to pick getting rid of either streaming... I should use different fingers for this. If you had to pick either getting rid of streaming or the Friday ruminations, which would you get rid of? And this is the important part. Why? And I would like everyone watching this on YouTube to answer this question, too. I want as many people as possible to answer this question. I'm trying to get as much feedback as possible. Now, before anyone freaks out over me, no, this is not something that's going to happen. No, this is not something that's, oh my god, he's going to stop doing that. But this is, I need this data, and I can't think of a better way to get this data. So I'm just asking you bluntly and hoping you guys have a little modicum of understanding. As I check my email. There we go. For record, by the way, if we were to remove streaming, the only stream that would continue would be Loreweek. That's it. No premiere runs, no lore runs, no chill runs. Anyone answering neither, you're missing the point. I'm just reading people's responses, don't mind me. Lol, Palan. That's part of why we're asking this question, Dagall. Like, if I was to just... Come on. My fingers have been weird lately. There we go. If I was to just get rid of the Friday Ruminations about February, actually, because I would commit to finishing out the current floodgates. But I was just to get rid of the Friday Ruminations. I don't know the exact economic impact of that. And I need to. Oh yeah, by the way, obviously there will be no board game night stream tomorrow because SGDQ will be happening and we'll be restreaming SGDQ all week. SGDQ all week. How bad of an economic impact of losing streaming would be? I can tell you the numbers on that one pretty definitively. I'm not going to tell you those numbers, but yeah. Let me explain part of why I'm asking this. Here's my time, right? So, TV rumination stuff takes up about this much time over here, okay? So this is what's left. Of this is my Friday ruminations. This chunk of time right here is gargantuan. It's not a complaint. This is a statement of fact. It takes an enormous amount of time, and I have already lowered myself to the point of cheating in every single rumination that I play because I do not have time not to. It's actually gotten frustrating because I've had to talk about gameplay less and less in the Friday ruminations because I can't. Because I just cheated my brains out to get through the game as quickly as possible. The only reason I can even manage so far right now is because some of you ask for games that take 2 hours to beat, or a movie which takes an hour and a half to beat. And then that helps balance out the Xenosaga games, for example, and not calling to quite out, but, to again, to chop off how long those games took. Again, even with nightmare amounts of cheating and whatnot. Hi, Sakage. Like, let me give you a small example of what I'm talking about. And I want to stress that this is just hard fact. This is not me trying to guilt anyone. This is not me trying to put anyone down. Some people have asked why I even have the donate for Premiere Run thing. And that basically exists to provide a method of knowing how much consumers are interested in a given game and to cover the cost of the game itself. I charge, I know this is going to sound strange, but I charge very, very little for my Premiere runs. 4 days of streaming all day, every day, is not $80, right? Like, if you think about it in those terms, you can kind of understand why that's pretty much just for interest's sake, as opposed to actually, this is my primary method of intake. If I was to go ahead and say, hey, I need you to donate exactly how much on a per hourly basis a game's going to be, the number of the premiere runs would just jump up, which is obviously why I don't do that, because I don't want that. So to give you an idea of what I'm talking about, premiere runs are not a thing. I forget why. I was saying that in reference to someone. I can't remember who I was saying that in reference to. Well, if I did that, then the ruminations would become streams max time, which is fine. We could do that. A Ruma stream? A Loremination? I don't know, we could come up with something like that. That's economic viability. That's what we're responding to. Because functionally, right now, the premiere runs and the lore runs are economically viable, but only really because of the Twitch subs, not because of the donation side of things. I don't want to speak ill of the donations, because those are very much grateful, and I'm very grateful for them. But that mostly covers what I like to think of as miscellaneous expenses, not rent, if that makes any sense. Like, Jason Bauer donated $15 earlier, which is awesome. I actually already know what that $15 is going to go to. It's going to go towards me getting some things for my niece in the coming week, because I'm going to be watching my niece most of the next week. And that's awesome that I have that money to do that, and I'm very grateful for that. But that money does not go towards, the rent, the $200 a month for cable, or the $300 a month for electric, or anything like that. That's a completely separate bucket, at least the way I do it. So, that's why I say that those donations are kind of a separate thing from the actual economic viability of the show, which is all on the Patreon stuff and the Twitch sub stuff. That right there, that's the bulk. That's how I continue to exist. The money I have for the new... It's just funny timing. So I have a new PSU coming in right now. It's actually 7 stops away, according to Amazon. Power supply, for those of you who don't know what that means. And that power supply is necessary because mine is burning out. I have to have a new power supply. It's like $400 or some ridiculous number like that. And so that is being paid for with Twitch subs and Patreon. That's coming out of that bucket. Those larger expenses that exist for the show and for my continued existence, that comes out of Patreon and out of the Twitch subs. I need 1,000 watts is the one, so that's the new one we're getting. I actually need an 850. That's my line right now. It's actually closer to like 820 something, but I don't remember the number right now. So I'm going over that like I always do for a little bit of future proofing and to make sure this doesn't happen again. These things, I don't know if you've ever really seen the lighting, the umbrella lighting I've got actually the lighting right up there too. All of this comes out of the Patreon and the Twitch sub side of things. So the green screen, this material, I've actually got a spare swath of fabric just in case anything happens to this one. Yeah, cable is an internet. Sorry, I should have clarified. I don't watch TV. Am I inactive? I don't know what Palan's asking. Anyways, so thank you everyone for your responses, and thank you everyone on YouTube. Please, again, share your responses on this. Like I said, I'm balancing economics and time. I've noticed a lot of people... This is going to sound weird. I've been studying economics almost my entire life, and I have been... You've been very helpful. Thank you, everyone. I've noticed that too many people seem to think that economics means money. No, economics means resources, time, services, and products. That's what economics means. It's the flow of interaction socially between people. Do I make more? Oh, yes. Yes, I am making more money than I lose, Palayan. That is correct. I am net positive. And so, yeah, lately I've been just kind of... Yeah, exactly, Anthony, and the management of all those things. And that's kind of been on my mind a lot lately because I've just been falling further and further behind. I'll even be honest with you. You know what really triggered this for me? What really made this bother me? I haven't really had a lot of time to work on the Loreweek Theater. And I know that sounds stupid of a thing, but it's been bothering me because I really want to do the Loreweek Theater. I really want to finish it. I mean, we have so much good work already done in the FF9 Loreweek Theater, and I don't want to lose momentum on that so people stop recording lines for it, and people stop doing stuff for it, and I just can't justify the time right now. I wake up, I go to the bathroom, get on that exercise machine. This is a day in my life. This is not joking. Get on that exercise machine. This has been my last week. Do my morning exercise, do the stretches, do the weight stuff, sit down, and I start watching Star Trek. And it's literally right here, because I've been doing this all week. I've got the captain's log right here, and I go here, and I research what I can, and I research what I can on the internet. I've also got a couple more books here, which I don't need to pull up, but you get the idea. And I've got my notepad right there, and I sit here, and I'm like, okay, I'm just taking notes. Hang on, rewind. Okay, yep, all right, yep, and I've got the Blu-rays right there. Okay, and then I just go cha-kung, 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 and then it hits roughly about 6 or 7 in the evening, and then I stop. And then, once I have stopped, because my mind is gone. I don't go to bed until like 10 or 11, but my mind is no longer functional because I've been working all day. I'm sure you know what that feels like, right? And so I'm just like, and my sister and Pax and my mom, have all been like, you need to take more time for yourself because you're burning yourself out. So I usually spend my evenings doing something kind of relaxing, like playing Division with Pax. Yeah, I've been doing it. Go ahead, make fun. It's okay. It's a lot of fun, actually, with a friend. Playing Division with Pax, or playing FF14 with you guys, or, whatever. Take some time to myself, and then I go to bed, and I do it again the next day. So, that's my life right now. By the way, this book, I just want to show this off. This is called Captain's, plural, Logs. This is a great book. It's $20 right now on Amazon. At least it was last I checked. Because I was recording an episode where I plugged this. And it was $20 when I checked it. Go buy it. It's a great book. Like, it doesn't have ultra details, but it has some very interesting behind-the-scenes information. Yeah, I wasn't even counting about editing. I wasn't even talking about editing or... Oh, I see what Nils Wager's suggesting. So that suggestion has come up many times before. That would be feasible if I could afford a second person, which for obvious reasons I cannot. But the amount of time that would take is enormous. There's only really 2 ways to make that work, Nils Wager, or both. One would be to sit down and to, as I'm streaming, make notes of how much time into the stream it is for later, which may or may not actually work, especially since I have issues sometimes with the time not syncing up between the stream time and the recording time, but whatever. The other way would be to rewatch the whole stream, basically, and then chop it up manually, which is probably what I would actually do, which, as you might imagine, takes an enormous amount of time. This is by Edward Gross and Mark A. Altman. Those are the 2 people who put this together. This is great. I really, really, really recommend this book to anyone who cares about Star Trek. It's great stuff. Like, if you ever pull up Memory Alpha, like, I swear 9/10 of the stuff they have in the behind-the-scenes stuff is just from here. It's just from this book. And it's usually just tidbits rather than the whole information. This is one of my best resources for behind-the-scenes stuff on Star Trek. I've been leaning on this ever since I started the Voyager stuff. So, make of that what you will. Anyways, sorry for rambling about my show and my stupid self. Thank you all for supporting me. After all the garbage I've been through in my life in the last 7 years, the fact that you guys are still here listening to me makes it worth enduring. Make of that what you will. Let's talk about Sony before I start being an idiot here. Come on. There we go. Ah! Well, I guess I am filled with a great deal of fear today. Thank you very, very much, Mead Fist. As I think I just highlighted, and this is, I think I've kind of given a significant amount of why, those Twitch subs are really, really appreciated and really help me a lot. Thank you. How many of you know what the topic is before I really get going? Sony and crossplay. How many of you know? This isn't actually just about Fortnite, by the way. That is the most recent incident, but this has actually been a long-standing problem. Just this week, Nintendo tweeted out a great deal of fear. Thank you very, very much, Gearhound. Again, much gratitude. I'm stumbling over my words. Thank you for those subs. Although I don't. Thank you. I don't know what else to say. I've screwed up. I've lost my tongue. Fear the European Union. Fear Sony. Sony does not support crossplay. Now, I don't want to say universally, because I don't believe that's true, and I don't like to say something unless I'm 100% true. I used to do that on my show, and that was stupid, and people have rightly called me out for it. But Sony has been really anti crossplay within the last couple of years, to the point where you basically can't play. I'm sorry, Zoan, because you can't play anything on Xbone and PS4, or Switch and PS4, and I believe PC and PS4 will. But again, I'm not 100% sure about that. Again, this has been a recurring problem. Sony's own response...
Oh, welcome. Pay close attention. Hopefully you'll learn something.
...is that Emperor Valerian is donating money for some reason. Thank you, Emperor Valerian. That's right, because you finished off Star Control 3. That's already done now. Thank you again. There we go. Now, to be clear, I shouldn't have to say this on my show. You guys have brains. I'm not being anti-PS4 here. I don't care. I have a PS4. It's right there. That's not the point of this. The point is that Sony corporate is just as stupid as everyone else corporate. Because what they're pushing right now is this whole, and have been pushing for over a year now, is we can't support. I forget the exact quote, but it's something like, we can't allow the possibility of crossplay because we can't regulate it and to what we consider to be acceptable for the kind of networking, blah 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 blah. And that's basically a lie. And I really feel, personally, this is just opinion, but I think that what Sony's actually doing with this whole limiting you to Sony-only playing is trying to, that's true, Blackfall, is to be more, I hate to use this word, but I guess it's the only one that functions, more exclusive, to force more people to only have a PS4, rather than supporting the idea of people having a PS4 and a such and such, or people playing with a PS4 and a such and such. And yes, I am, Mr. Darkness. I can switch the music if you want. Hang on. We'll get a more appropriate song going. Give me a second. Where's the composite playlist? There it is. There we go. Yeah, I also believe that there's at least some politics going on here, but of course there is. There's always politics going on. Relative point being, oh, you don't like Mario? All right. I'll be nice. No Mario. I don't know what else I've got though. I don't have any other music. I have nothing but Mario. No, okay. Getting back to my point. In my opinion, this is a good example of pretty much the same thing I mentioned earlier, where IHOP is basically trying to do something relatively cheap and relatively easy in order to... no, I never found it, Anthony Draft. In order to try and accomplish whatever it is they're trying to accomplish. Like, again, I can only guess at what exactly Sony is doing here. Whether it's trying to enforce more of an exclusive monopoly, whether it's trying to force, some kind of an artificial rivalry between Sony and everything else. I don't actually know. I don't really know where they're going with this one. I have noticed that, and this is purely my own personal observations, that when I bash Switch, nobody seems to care. And I bash the Xbone, nobody seems to care. But when I bash PS4, people tend to get up in arms about that. I'm not sure if that's part of the current culture that's been developed in that direction. I don't know if maybe that's something that's being deliberately engendered. I really don't know if this is what Sony is trying for. But I do have to say, from a purely economic perspective, what they are doing makes sense as long as you presume that they have the strong and stable position. Now, what I mean by that is, if you want to play their games, you have to buy their system. The end. Now, they have also been doing some pretty good stuff about that, and I do want to give praise where praise is due. A lot of the PS4 actual department has been legitimately supporting the development of games in order to properly polish them, which is what I personally consider to be the one and only way in which exclusivity can be a good thing. For those of you not aware, I'm actually pretty anti-exclusive, even economically speaking, and I know that's a weird thing to say, and it's a long topic. Let's not get into that right now. But I do like that, God of War 4 is an excellent example of a game that Sony actually supported and put work and effort into, and thus got an exclusive out of it. That's fine. But the point is, honestly, Slabity just says this the simplest way possible. This is just more Sony lock-in. And I really feel like it's such a strange move for them to push because it's actively hurting consumer trust and goodwill. They're actually hurting consumer goodwill in this one by basically forcing crossplay to not be a thing. It's worth noting that if we rewound time maybe 15 years, maybe even 10 years, console exclusive cross-play is the kind of thing that would be insane. Like, I mean, we could do that, but it's really difficult. And then we get a little bit more modern. This is, I hate to use this phrase because everyone makes fun of me when I say this, but this is now 2018. We have developed our infrastructure to the point where matchmaking between a PS4 and a Switch is a joke. It would actually probably be easier for them to allow that cross-play connection than it is for what they are currently doing to do the lockout. Like, this is no longer the early 2000s. Right? Gaming has developed a lot in the last 2 decades, like a huge amount. God's sakes, I mean, I hate to bring up the old argument again, but you remember how much, how you used to buy subscriptions to services in order to do matchmaking? You remember that? I mean, seriously. What was the one I used to use? Not GamePro. What was it? It was green. It was like this big green thing. See you around, Cool Walker. Yeah, that was a thing. StarCraft was one of the very first games. GameSpy, that was it. StarCraft was one of the very first games to actually offer their own matchmaking service. It was, I don't think it was the first, but it was one of the first to do that. You know? That was new when Battle.net came out. Nowadays, it's normal, but back in the day, if you wanted to play Command & Conquer 1... or if you wanted to play, Doom or Quake with someone, you had to either directly dial up to them or use an actual third-party matchmaking service, which you usually spent money on. Yeah, I remember Heat. Anyways, my point being that Sony's stupid. I'm sorry, rewind. My point being that Sony Corporate is stupid. Moving on. Oh yeah, and I suppose I should also clarify, for those of you not fully aware of the most recent reason why this is coming up now, just to clarify really quick. So let's say I want to play Fortnite. Now I don't, but let's say I do. So I pick up my Switch and I'm like, yeah, I'm playing Fortnite, this is so cool. Yeah! Woo! Okay, you know what? I kind of want to play on my PS4, which I have right here. Okay, I'm going to play Fortnite on my PS4 because I'm at a friend's house. Okay, let me go back to my Switch. Oh, I can't play anymore because it's been locked in. And the best part, I'm sorry, I hate to keep talking about this for a second, but the best part is there's no warning. Or at least there wasn't when I looked this up. They might have added one in the last week. But if you go to Sony's website or whatever and you register your account with the PS4, it's gone as of that moment. There's no, like, just so you know, if you do this, you're only going to ever play this on the PS4 forever thing. Anyways, I have these out for a reason, by the way. I'm going to showcase a couple games in a minute here. But first, let's talk about politics. I love talking about politics. It's so great. It's my favorite thing to do in the world. How many of you know what I'm going to talk about before I get into the EU? Had to look up the numbers. Yeah, let's get to some much more appropriate music here for this. Where's my Doom playlist? No, not Doom the game. I mean just like everything's dying and life is miserable. There we go. Perfect. So this is dumb. I'm just going to start with that. No, you're right. This isn't actually politics. You are correct. That's why I feel safe talking about this. Otherwise, I would not even bring this up in my show. I'd just be like, yeah. And that would be the end of it. So, recently, and by recently I mean like 3 days ago now? God, I've kind of lost track. Article 11 and Article 13 in the EU have been approved. Now, I've actually taken the time to read some of these articles and try to look into the specifics. It's all about trying to lock down the ability of one person to emulate someone else's copyrighted works in the internet. It's pretty simple. I know. One moment. Are they doing setup right now? Question mark. Sorry, Gary's at GDQ. He's sending me pictures of the stage right now. And I'm very jealous that he's there. Oh, nice. They've already got the booth where they're going to be doing the pre-show setup and everything. Anyways, by the way, I hope to showcase Gary on stream when I'm restreaming at GDQ. We'll talk about it in chat. Anyways, so, yeah, this has basically gone through. I don't actually know how EU law works, if it's the same as states law, but from what I understand, Article 13 and Article 11 have both been ratified by the second step they need to be ratified on, which I believe means it's actually law now. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure if that's actually how EU law works. There are plenty of people, Mr. Darkness already linked it in chat. You can just look this up if you don't want to trust me or my word on it. The biggest problem with this thing, in my opinion, is the nature of how it applies consequence. It's complicated. Of course it's complicated. Germans, am I right? I'm kidding. Germans are cool. Hey, Gary. Yes, Gary will be on camera hopefully at some point, and I'll be in chat being like, hey, look, it's him, and he'll be like, hey. So the idea here is, let's say, for example, let me give you a hypothetical. Let's say you, Palayan, the next person who talked there. Let's say if Palayan decides to go ahead and make a Minecraft mod that shows off Mega Man characters. This is a dumb example, but bear me out. And let's say Capcom decides to say screw you on that one. So if Capcom decides to say screw you on that one, who do you think takes the bulk of the actual consequence there? Palayan or Microsoft? Because according to the way this law is being implemented, the weight of consequence seems to be on the actual the developer, not Palayan. Now, they might decide to fine Palayan. They might. But they will put the bulk of that fine on the company that allowed him to do that. And that would be Microsoft. Now, hopefully this will not actually become a thing. Because, and I speak sincerely, the only the only reasonable way to deal with this from a company and a developer perspective is to lock down on mod support. To just say, and to completely end the possibility of mod support in this case, which is awful. Just to say that as blunt as I can. I mean, granted, I am very pro mod support. I have been since the frickin' 90s, but that's terrible. And that's just applying to that. I mean, this kind of thing applies to news articles. This thing applies to internet memes. This thing applies to fan fiction. This thing applies to fan art. Or just not to sell in the EU at all. Yeah, we could either just clunk away from the EU, or we could just completely lock down on the ability to support it. Because the idea here, and this is something that some lawyers have already been looking into, the idea here is that some companies could make a strong argument that if we have locked down mod support and do not release dev kits and do not release dev tools and do not openly support modding, then if someone mods our game still and gets flagged for this or fined for this, we can argue legally that that's not on us, the company, because we've been going out of our way to prevent that from happening, and therefore we're cool. But it's worth noting that's still just a legal argument, not an actual decisive fact, so I'm not even sure if that would work or not. It would be absolutely terrible if that didn't work. Could you imagine? Oh, well, you don't support mods, but someone still modded your game, so screw you. What? What weirds me out most about this law is I don't understand its purpose. For the cynical amongst you, you might be like, well, of course there's no purpose, it's a law. But no, I mean, maybe I'm a little bit too much of an idealistic or an optimistic person, but I'd like to think that most laws, or at least some laws, have some purpose in existing. Control of what? By whom? This doesn't actually feel like it puts control of anything in particular in anyone's hands. Unless we're getting to the point of total media domination, which I think we're a little bit away from that at the moment. And no, you're right, Pelayan. You are right. That is absolutely true. Its intended purpose is to screw modders. Screw those people for some reason. Lobbying. You know, every now and again I wish I had perfect information. You know what I mean? Like if you just could Google reality, for example, and have an absolute real answer, not a potential answer, not a re-reported answer, not an answer that has to have 15 asterisks to it. Just, here's the truth, right? Wouldn't that be cool? Granted, I want that all the time, but it would be nice every now and again to say, okay, why are you doing this? And be like, oh, it's because of this and this. Well, that makes sense. But instead, I'm sitting here just staring at this whole situation kind of like this. What do you mean? You mean like the ability to have perfect memory? Yeah, I kind of wish I had perfect memory. But then again, I'm very glad in some cases that I don't have perfect memory, because then I would remember all the pain I've been in my life perfectly, and I don't want to. The EU... Now, that's interesting. The EU does not actually have regulations on lobbying. I mean, lobbying is already bad here in the States. It's actually kind of difficult to picture it being worse. I can, because I've studied history, but that's still crazy. I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't actually have much else to add about this. This whole thing is just crazy. This whole thing is nightmarish. I don't even know what to make of it. Clearly, what we need to have happen, guys, is we need to have Britain, the United States, the UK, and the United States kind of unite again. We'll group up. We got you. Hang on. Where's my freaking glasses? There we go. We got your back, Britain. We're cool. Germany can go do its own thing. We're cool. We got your back. I'm just saying. I'm not quite kidding. In my opinion, lobbying is the kind of thing that needs to have more... I don't want to say regulation, because that's actually the wrong word. More moderating. Because in my opinion, the biggest problem with lobbying is that there's lobbying and then there's bribing, but the two are classified as the same. Here in the States, at least. I don't know about in the EU. And I agree, there actually is good lobbying that goes on, and there's lobbying for causes I don't agree with, but I'm still in favor of the fact that it's happening because of the method by which it's happening. And then there's bribery, which needs to go away, you know? Just straight up here. Vote this way. Okay. Money. Anyways. Would you like some free stuff? You want some free stuff? I've got it. Okay. Hang on. This thing on. Attention, people of the world. Y'all suck. Oh god, a doctor with my thing. No, okay. Anyways. Yes, I bought a mic just so I could drop it on camera. It's okay, it was only like 15 bucks. It's actually a nice mic, but I have no intention of ever using it because it's one of these mics. Anyways. Oh, my back. Let's go ahead and do something positive, shall we, while we wait for GDQ to start? That sounds like a good thing, right? So let's stop the doom music. Let's just cut that off there and let's switch to... Oh, yeah, I want to address one other thing because I've had some people ask about this. What's with the hum? So, for those of you not aware, the AC unit is about 8 feet that way. Like, I could get up and walk a few steps and practically be touching it, if not for the fact that it's outside. It is literally inches from my wall, okay? What you're hearing is not actually the AC unit. You are hearing the ceiling and the structure here being vibrated by the AC unit. I'm glad you're not hearing it. I hear it when I edit my own videos, but there's literally 100% nothing I can do about that. Unless I make a lot more money than I do, and I'm not begging for money, it's just a statement of fact, because right now I'm stuck in this room, because I live with roommates. Like, I can't even turn my AC off and fix it, because they'll still have the AC on. Right? So, I actually hope to, my actual plan, because I feel like sharing this with you guys, is I want to take over this house. They'll move out, and I will take over full rent payment for it. And then I plan to move the studio up there. There's a big old room I could use. It's more space and, of course, less access to that and more, less noise pollution in general. And then I'll just stay down here to sleep because this is a great place to sleep. But anyways. I'll take over the world later. I don't want to take over the world. You guys don't seem to understand that. Like, do you know how much of a nightmarish job that would be? Good Lord. Anyways. I just, no. Ugh. So I want to showcase some stuff. The first thing I want to showcase is this. Aw. So we gotta skip that. Copyright.
Sushi Striker, the way of Sushido.
So this is a game.
I'm ready to go. Here we go.
You ready for this? This is very Japanese. In a world without fish.
Of all its natural resources, one had value above any other, the dish known as sushi. Endless strife broke out among those craving its sublime taste. This strife exploded into open war between the Empire, who sought to hoard all the world's sushi, and the Republic, who hoped to share sushi with all the world's people. It became known as the bitter sushi struggles. After the Republic's defeat, The Empire strictly forbade all talk of sushi. To eat sushi was an even greater crime. That is where our story begins.
Oh, it's not even weird yet, guys. Trust me. There was once a boy who lived in the remote republic, or village in the republic. He lost his parents in the sushi struggles and spent his years in an orphanage.
That's me! I'm Musashi!
Oh yeah, this game has voice acting.
I'm also really, really hungry.
Oh, trust me, Javan.
Us too.
Well, I'll fix that.
There's gotta be something in the woods we can eat.
Yay!
Oh, we can be a girl if you want. I just picked boy because I am male. Yes, that's right. I am male, straight, and white. Come at me.
Yeah! It's all the fruit I can eat! Woohoo! Yum, yum, yum! What a day! I can hardly carry all this. All those kids will have full bellies for once. Well, if it isn't the saddest dope around. Ugh, not Kojiro. Picking fruit right off the trees, are ya?
Looks that way. What a weirdo. You actually eat that stuff?
What's your problem? Get lost! Thanks, sucker. Looks good. I'll give it a taste test. But it's mine! Ugh, gross, gross, gross! What kind of fruit is this?
Figures.
How can you stand to eat this? Ugh, are you kidding? Sure, it's nasty, but what else is there to eat besides this stuff? Pathetic. You dorks gobble up trash and act like it's delicious candy.
Trash eaters! Trash eaters!
Kojiro! Look what you did!
I find myself wondering what kind of fruit they're eating exactly. Like, seriously, what are they eating? Oh, we're not even at the... I mean, that was pretty bad, but we're getting to something even worse in a second here.
Mom, Dad,
I wish you still had eyeballs.
and are you ever planning on coming back?
They're dead! Your parents are dead!
Oh, man, I never got any food!
Hey, what happened here?
I am the mysterious sushi guy.
Why? Who wants to know?
You can call me Franklin. I'm a wanderer on this hungry earth. Clearly in dire straits, but self-pity won't help you. Chin up, young man.
Can it? Leave me alone!
You must have been pretty hungry.
Me and everyone else!
I don't fault you. Growing children do need their food.
Don't treat me like a kid, I'm not some brat!
Forgive me. Then you can keep secrets just like an adult, yes?
Secrets?
If you promise to keep this strictly between the two of us, I'll let you dine on sushi.
Sushi?
No!
Sushi?
You have heard of it, I trust. There's no tastier food in the world.
That's true.
Though within the Republic's borders, it's a crime to even look upon it, let alone eat it. I'm giving you a chance to try some. Well, it's good.
I hate sushi! I hate sushi so much! I lost my mom and dad in the war. The stupid war they fought all because of some stupid sushi! Sushi ruined my life! I'd rather starve than take a single bite. Dang it!
You are correct that there has been terrible violence over sushi before, but you must know, sushi was not to blame for this. Sushi isn't just something to stuff the belly with. It brings real joy to people. Young man, try it and you'll see.
Ah!
What are you?
Good question. I'm Arao, one of the great sushi sprites who controls the
Yes,
world.
they're sushi elementals.
Not a sprout, a sushi sprite.
Cutie pie?
I said sushi sprite. Franklin, are you sure about this?
Humor me.
Okay, I'll do it. Ta-da!
What is this thing? It came out of nowhere.
That's sushi. Go on, try it.
Yes, they literally can just sushi into existence. It's so good!
Amazing! This is sushi! This is sushi!
Which is funny.
It's the best food ever!
It looked like he was just having cucumber and rice, by the way.
Are those tears of joy? Well, don't stop. Keep eating.
It's a sushi RPG, Jovan. How do you think it came onto my radar? So, actual gameplay.
Where are we?
Oh yeah, by the way, all cutscenes are skippable, in case you're wondering. Never fear, you're in a sushi field, a place where sushi flows from sushi sprites.
But don't worry about that.
I have much to teach you here. You see, there's a lot you can do with sushi here.
Let's see you link 2 plates of the same color.
Woohoo!
Exactly.
Now link as many of them as you can.
Nice! Come on.
I've seen a lot of plates, but there's no sushi here.
Pardon me.
For that, I'll need to have an whatever. Return to the shrine.
R.O., if you please.
Sure thing.
Behold!
Yay!
Eat up. Link 2 or more plates of the same color, just as before.
Yum!
I can't get enough. God, I should totally get sushi today. Since I can't, because there's no place to do that.
You have 7 seconds.
Sure!
This is actually really weird to control. So in case you don't know, this actually was originally designed for the 3DS, and God, it shows, because this is basically built for touch controls, and I'm not playing this with touch controls. It's always satisfying to see someone take their first taste of sushi.
Wow. Thank you.
Sushi is so amazing!
Tears of joy, huh?
Humans are so strange.
Quiet, you sushi spout!
What did you call me?
It's an interesting jacket. Oh, you like it? My dad gave it to me when I was a kid. You are secretly the chosen one! Yeah, but he and Mom disappeared after the struggle started. They're dead!
That is unfortunate.
Oh!
You ought to have this.
I got a weird thingy!
What is it?
That would be telling.
Wait, don't you just friggin' tell me?
This all seems kind of fishy.
Oh, ha ha ha.
If you must know, I'm a traveling sushi striker.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, they pledge with sushi sprites.
And summon Sushi's awesome powers!
Some of that means doing battle with sushi, so they're called sushi strikers.
Sure thing.
There are not many nowadays.
With access
Don't
to
you
sushi. So anyways, we're gonna skip through this real quick.
Maybe so.
Sushi for
So we're gonna skip.
everyone?
See if we can get to a battle here really quick to show that off. Skip. Skip. Behold, the battle against General Kodiak! So this is where the Pokemon aspect of the game kind of comes in a little bit.
Hey!
Just like before, Link at least 2 plates of the woohoo!
Behold my power!
I was gonna say, Venters. So I notice we're eating every time we do this.
Oh,
Fire!
actually eating sushi.
There you go.
Death to the enemy.
The enemy with stacks of the same colored plates.
Yeah. Eat this! Buffet! Oh yeah! Enjoy the taste of defeat!
So anyways, that's one of the games I wanted to show off. The other one, we're going to do this in order. This is a game called SteamWorld Dig. Let me just start by saying I recommend you buy this and the other two in the series. But I want to show it off a little bit. So this is SteamWorld. This is SteamWorld 1, to be more specific. Wow, it looks weird. So, this is an awesome game, but it's easiest to just show you what it's like. Now, as you'll notice on the upper right there, this is actually a save game. I've already done quite a bit of digging, but this is how it works. It's kind of Metroid-y, but not quite. Like, it is really hard to explain properly. The entire point is you go further and further down. As you go down, you get upgrades that increase your ability to function. You get money because you dig out valuables, which you use to go ahead and to buy more upgrades. Selling those in town. There's actually a finite amount of treasure in the entire game, thanks to the way the map is done. Now, as you can see here, I actually have every upgrade, so I have, like, double jump and all that kind of stuff. But generally, the only thing you have is the Ryu thing, the Ninja Gaiden thing, where you can hop up the walls. Now, that's more important than it sounds, because when you're first starting this game, it's actually extremely easy to literally get trapped. If you do... where is it? There's a self-destruct button. Because it is possible to physically get completely stuck if you're not careful. And then you end up back here. As you go further down, you start to get warp points. Whoops, that's too far down. Let's not go there right now. There is a story, by the way, to this game. It's actually a pretty interesting story. Here we go, this is better. So, we'll drain some water here, because we are steam-powered. It's part of the whole point of SteamWorld Dig. Yes, Fateless. Also, you're evil. There's also little mini dungeons like this, which are basically little challenges trying to figure out how to get through an area and get to the treasure at the end. These are fun. I like these. Like, for example, those things actually collapse once you put them. You know, there's all sorts of rules to this. I don't know what else to call this game, but it is surprisingly fun. It's a little short. God, I actually can't even remember how long I played this. But like I said, there is a story. I won't spoil it for you. The only thing I'm going to tell you right now is that the actual main plot starts off because you are a steam robot who was hired, or excuse me, who was sent the deed to your farm. And by farm, I of course mean mine, because I'm an idiot. Everyone's a steam-powered, by the way. That's the dominant population on the planet. I don't want to spoil too much, but I'm just going to say humans are on this world. And that's all I'm going to say about this. This is kind of a post-apocalyptic thing. You just don't realize that at first. And as you can see, the town spreads as you do stuff, and there's other shortcuts down here. Imagine Dig Dug, except better in every way, and yeah, that's basically what this is. Having done that, I don't have much else to say about it other than I recommend it. It's like $5. Then there's these two games. Now, these came out in order. SteamWorld Heist was next, and then SteamWorld Dig 2 is their most recent game. However, in terms of chronology, it's SteamWorld Dig, which is the oldest game in the storyline, and then SteamWorld Dig 2 is the next game, and then SteamWorld Heist is the one in the far future. I'm going to go ahead and show this, but I'm going to try really hard not to talk about the story, because it's more or less impossible to talk about Heist's story without spoiling 2, because it's more or less a direct sequel to 2. Heist is a lot of fun, though, especially for anyone who likes XCOM. hear me out, because this is a weird version of XCOM. Nope, skip. No story. There is a plot. So as you can see, it took me 11.5 hours to beat the game. So I have it muted right now, because, well, honestly, because I don't like the music of this game. So as you can see, it's already a completely different structure to the first game. Let's go ahead and do a mission really quick. I like Heist a lot better once I got rid of the thing. So, okay, let's bring him. And we've got the... oh, God, I don't have any gear right now. Whatever. So this is where you start your loadout of your soldiers. There is sound in this game, I swear. I'll turn it on in a second just so you can hear it. In fact, I'll do it right now. There. So you might be thinking, what the hell is this game? Well, it's XCOM. Story. So, here's your movement. As you can see, fully turn-based. Orange is your first move, blue is your second move. See? So I'll get in cover down here. I'll have him go up. Yeah, it is literally side-scroller XCOM. There's a lot of... Basically, the game never stops getting harder, all the way up to and including the last boss. The main goal for most of these missions is not just to complete them, but to get as much loot as you can as you're going through them. In fact, if you don't get the loot as you go through, you're probably going to be screwed. This is how the aiming works. So this is... I'm going to... Actually, I'm going to move forward, then I'm going to take my shot. Headshots matter more, as you can see. I'll take that loot there. Thank you. I'll just stick here. And I'll take some loot, because loot is good. Oh yeah, there's basically no actual BS in this. There's an extremely small amount of randomness in the game. Like, there's no chance to hit, you have to aim. Right? That's you will hit or not based on whether or not you have aimed well. The only randomness is how much damage things do, and usually the variance is like 4 to 6 instead of, 40 to 80 kind of a thing. There's different kinds of weapons, as you can see, and you can damage cover too, as I just demonstrated there. Oh yeah, and this is on PC as well, I do believe. You can also do ricochet shots like this. Not every gun can ricochet, though. Yeah, if you lose your hat, you actually are basically vulned. That's the simplest way to put that. Blah, 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 blah. Every mission except for boss missions ends with you needing to escape. Most missions, and I can't demonstrate this properly, sorry, but they'll have a timer at the top of the screen. The longer that timer ticks down, the worse it gets. It gets to the point where they start spawning enemies, like multiple enemies every round. And yeah, you will just completely get... You always have an indicator, too, of if you've looted everything in a particular area. You leave. Woo! And just like XCOM, you have levels. Loot. So, there's stars, which I'll talk about in a second. Yes, this is 720p. There's stars, and then there's experience. Experience is obvious. It gets you new abilities and new passives. Most of the classes are actually really different in playstyle, which I really like. Oh, so this game gets balls hard later, by the way. Some of the later enemies are just mean. I'm not going to spoil anything. It's just... Oh, and obviously it's extremely story-focused. There's cutscenes and dialogue at pretty much every step. So to show off this a little bit, that's what I mean by variance. 3 to 4 damage, and +1 damage on criticals. And of course, you actually get utility items too, which can do all kinds of things. They can allow you to jump higher, move farther, heal yourself, deflect damage, take damage but do more damage when you take damage, you name it. There's tons and tons and tons of stuff. And you can increase your inventory size later, so don't worry about that either. You can also just sell items willy-nilly, just right now, bam, I can just sell that, and it's gone. And as you can see, anybody who knows this game knows this indicates that this is my New Game Plus. Oh yeah, did I mention this game has New Game Plus? This is actually a New Game Plus save right now that I'm on. You can tell because I have the entire crew here, even though I'm on the second mission. This is a good game, if you like this kind of thing. It is extremely slow-paced, but in my experience, and pretty much about halfway through, the missions take about 20 minutes or so. Overwatch mechanics? I don't remember any, but there are... So it's not just the class, but also the gun that matters. For example, right now I've just got a pistol, and I'm pretty sure this character, my main character, the captain here, can equip a pistol or a sniper weapon. A sniper weapon cannot be fired after moving, but is ridiculously accurate and does far more damage, and has insane range. Some sniper weapons can rebound, some can't. There's... like this guy here, he has a large explosive grenade launcher. She's got... Well, actually, no, she doesn't have it. There's machine guns, which literally shoot multiple bullets, which spray, each bullet doing separate damage. Looks like I don't have any other weapons on there. But there are other types of weapons and other types of abilities, and it's all awesome, and you should play this game. It's awesome. But the one I like really a lot is this one. This is the most recent game they've come out with, SteamWorld Dig 2. Again, heavy story focus. Look, apparently it took me 10 hours and 20 minutes to 100% this game. So this game is Metroid. This is basically a straight-up Metroidvania in an awesome kind of a way. Here's the map, which kind of gets across the point. It's the same general premise as the first game. You know, digging, getting loot, returning to base, selling it. Just more in every way. And like I said, there's paths and unlocks and secret areas and a lot of exploration. And, well, as you can see, the map is gargantuan. Later on, hey Ginger Ninja, you get a lot of new different ways to move around, like this. I have the fully upgraded, what's this called? Jetpack. So I can just go wherever, pretty much. I functionally have the, oh, what's it called? The space ball or the space jump or whatever from Metroid? Yeah, Dig 2 is basically everything about the first game, just better in every way. This really is a massively improved sequel. The graphics look better, the gameplay is tighter, there's more options, there's more customization, and it's less linear. Like I said, the first game is basically always down plus dungeons. Like, you go down, you go down, you go down, then you have another dungeon. This game is all over the place, and there is stuff to find all over the place. And it's fun, and it's awesome, and I really, really, really recommend it. And again, story focus. Combat is... Well, it's hard to explain here. Where's the place I could go to? Let me think about this. For the record, you don't get this jetpack until pretty late in the game. Just like Space Jump, so... Forgive me, I'll try to stop using it so much. The map is not randomly generated. This is a fully manually crafted map. Some of the loot is randomly generated, but unlike the first game, there is not a finite amount of loot, so you can't run into the problem where you literally run out of money, and therefore cannot buy upgrades. So unlike the first game, this one has an actual hub network, so rather than having the different hubs like I was showcasing the first one, oh god, it was insane. Mr. Darkness, are you kidding me? I had to do that one more than a few times, and I had to look up a couple things, too. Anyway, so you can just hop between hubs like this. Let's go here. This should be pretty rough. So a lot of different environments. There's also different types of terrain, too. Let's see, here's a good example around here. Ah! Right. It's still full screen. Well, I don't know about you guys, but this is filling me with some fear. Thank you very, very much, Skyrobot. As ever, I am very, very appreciative of those Twitch Prime subs as they help me to continue to exist. And I love it. Thank you. Is this it? No, I don't think this is it. Remember all the buttons. So you get a grapple in this. In fact, before you get the jetpack, you get the grapple. And you might be like, well, what's the point of that? Well, let me try and explain a little bit here. Damn Hang on. There we go. No, Ginger, I don't have time. And as you can see, some stuff has acidic effects, which melt away, destructible terrain, as I was showing off just a second ago there. There's also rebuildable terrain. I'm not sure where the nearest rebuildable terrain is. There's basically 3 types of terrain when it comes to hardness. The 2 different types of terrain that can both be hit by the pickaxe are the ones you see on your screen here. There's this stuff, and this stuff. Basically, hard rock, or hard dirt and dirt. Not off the top of my head, Ventures, no. Those types of games are kind of few and far between. Come on, there's got to be some example somewhere. Here we go. So this is rebuilding terrain. This stuff can make for some interesting challenges. That's what I mean by rebuilding. It just grows back very quickly. So to get through... just like the first game, this is a little puzzle-y. Like, there's quite a few things you can and can't do based on where your upgrades are. You also have a tremendous amount of customization in how you do your loadout. So you get these things called gears, of which there is a hypothetically infinite number. You use these to customize your pickaxe, your bag, your inventory, your lamp for your light, which I haven't really talked about yet, your armor, how much water you can carry, your gun, your drill, your jet engine, obviously, and the hook shot and map and all that other stuff. There's also a bunch of optional stuff down here, which is here for the hard stuff, which obviously I don't have activated right now. Mr. Darkness says they're finite, and he's technically correct, but there is a combo, and I don't remember the specifics, please forgive me, where basically you get money off of kills respawn, you can buy gears for money. Hence being able to get an infinite amount of gears. Regardless, obviously that's a little bit ridiculous. You're not really supposed to do that. Oh yeah, I should probably show off the acid effect a little bit more here. Oh, the shop ones are limited? That's interesting. Someone lied to me then. I have actually never bought anyone from the any of them ones from the shop. Ah, crap. So I should have died right there, but I actually have a talent that prevents me from dying. Go figure. Once every so often. You can actually see it cooldowning in the upper left there. I know it's kind of partially hidden by chat. This is a great game. No, this is a great game. You should play this game. Oh yeah, I haven't showed this off yet. You have a jackhammer, which I have nothing to use against because there's no rocks around here. I'm in a swamp, but whatever. It has wind-up time, and that's what you use to break rocks, which is pretty much the only way to break rocks. Ah! Oh yeah, it's got good music too, and good graphics. Not as many bosses as I would like. There's only a few bosses in this game, but each one is pretty good. Oh, acid. There we go. It's got a lava area, because every game has to have a lava area. That's just, Do it, Jonathan. Buy this game. It's really good. Seriously, it's the kind of game you would enjoy. Early on, when you don't really have explosives, you have to knock those guys into things to explode things. Can you spread the lava around? Well... see if I can find a good area to show off what... Looks like not. I'm not sure where the area is. There's basically yes and no. I've never heard of that game, Ventures, so no. But in all seriousness, this is a phenomenal game that I highly, highly, highly recommend. The only downside of this game is, you know, it like most really good games, you know, it has a finite endpoint. You really not letting me? Okay, fine. Oh, and obviously there are story connections between the first game and this one, and this game and Heist. So, which order you play the games in is up to you. I actually played them in story order, and I think that was for the better, personally. It's a rare example of when I feel like story order is better than production order. That's what I'm talking about. There's the town from the first game. Right here. This is when you activate, where you activate hard mode, by the way. Because of course there's a hard mode. It's a good game. I feel like there was one other one I wanted to show off. Was there? I think I wanted to show off Dragon Quest Builders, but I kind of already have. And I'd have to get the thing in there. Maybe that was it. So there you go. There's your little Switch showcase for the day. I'm going to go ahead and jump off the local recording since we're getting pretty close to the point where we have to get on with the GDQ-ness. So for those of you on YouTube,